Hey, 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 ladies. Welcome to Plus Size Curvy and Pregnant. It's Marceline. Welcome, welcome. Hey, tonight I have a very, very special woman with me tonight here to share her testimony of God's greatness, God's goodness in her life as she and her husband navigated infertility. You guys, please help me welcome Janine. Hey, Janine.
Hey,
Oh my goodness. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you
girl.
for your
Thank you for
willingness to be
having
here.
me. Yes.
Yes. So, ladies, be ready. I feel like you have to hear this story. And every woman I've been invited to this platform is because I felt like there was a tug and there was a necessity to share the great things that we pray for, and which is definitely addition to our family and pregnancy and the joys of it and of course the tribulations of it. And I can't wait for Janine to just, I don't know, jump in and tell us about her journey. So Janine, tell us about yourself. Tell us everything.
Girl, yes. So, yes, my name is Janine Small. I am originally from Miami, Florida. Born and raised in the county of Dade, 305.
Hey.
Um, and upon graduation from high school, I ended up starting my journey at Bethune-Cookman University, then Bethune-Cookman College. Go Wildcats! Woo!
Come on, Wildcat.
And I graduated from Bethune-Cookman with my bachelor's in educational studies. Right out of college, became a teacher. I've been an educator for about 14 or 15 years by profession. I have probably done everything in the world of education outside of administration, from being a teacher. I was an instructional coach for many years. I was an ESOL teacher, teacher of children that have English as their second language. Currently, I am a gifted teacher. I will be teaching specifically third, fourth, and fifth grade gifted students this year. That is going to be thebomb.com. I'm so excited about that.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I am an elder in the Lord's Church. I was licensed in about 2008, and then we were ordained in 2015. I am currently serving as the director of the ministerial team at the Dream Center Church of Atlanta, where the Bishop William Murphy is my lead pastor.
Yes, yes. And she missed something. This girl can
That's okay.
sing. She can
Oh,
sing. She can sing. So she did not say
I'm
that,
a
but I'm
little
gonna go ahead
rusty
and throw
now.
that in there. Okay. The woman is a worshiper. Okay, a minstrel of the Lord. I have to make sure I said
Oh,
that. So you
absolutely.
skipped out on that. So but the girl can sing. But
Yes.
I actually know Janine through in from attending college. And her husband that she's going to talk about was a dear friend, still a dear friend of my husband and I. So how'd you meet our dear husband? Well, he's your husband, my dear brother.
Yes. We good shares. No. See,
Yeah.
so Philip, my husband's name is Philip Small. Philip and I met at Bethune-Cookman University, go Wildcats. It's very funny because I actually thought Philip was older than he was at the time. And I had vowed that I would never date anyone younger than me. And he is younger than me, and I had no idea until like we were already into it. You know, if anybody knows Philip, he is an old man at heart. So it was
Yeah.
very easy for him to disguise his age. But at the time when we met, I was a junior and he was a freshman when we first met. We were friends. Well, we were actually acquaintances. We would see each other every now and then. He was actually a friend of a friend at the time. And then some months went by and we ended up meeting each other again, probably 6 months later. Um, and we had a conversation together. We I think we went and had lunch, and the rest is history. Here we are, 11 years later.
Hello, somebody.
Happily.
My brother just was like, "Hey, I'm walking up in here. I don't care what you think or how old you think I am. Taking over. I love it." And he is that bold. I love that point. Janine, at what point, sorry, in your journey to conceiving that you realized something was wrong and it was time to seek some help?
So, like I said, we had decided about a year and a half in that we were going to actively start trying. And I knew in the back of my mind that we would have difficulty, but I didn't know how difficult it would be. So, rewind back to about the age of 14 to 16, right up in there. Um, that is where my infertility journey begins. I went to the nurse's office. I was in high school. To this day, I really cannot even remember why I went to her office. But I was in her office and she asked me that question that all nurses and doctors ask young ladies when they go in. When was the first day of your last period? And when she asked me that question, I said, I don't have one. I haven't got one yet. I don't. And she said, you haven't had a period? And she asked me that with such like, oh, duh, like, you haven't had this? And I said, no. At the time, you know, I had a best friend who had talked about she talked about getting her cycle. And I just didn't think anything of it. She was younger than I was. But, I was a teenager. I was, being a teenager. And so she asked me that question and I said no. And that moment was the start of the doubt. It was the start of the message in the mind. That very moment, she said to me, oh, well, you probably don't have any children. You haven't had your cycle by now. Mind you, I was about 14 or 15 years old. I don't think I was quite 16 yet. And she says to me, as a 14 or 15-year-old, well, you probably won't be able to have any children.
Wow.
14 or 15 years old. Imagine being a 14-year-old, not even really thinking about having children at the time. But now you're giving this message that even when you do, you probably won't. Even when you're ready, you probably won't even be able to. So my journey started at 16, and I'll never forget going home and talking to my mom and telling her about what the nurse said. And she says to me, you don't worry about that. She said, that was really the first time that she kind of opened up to me and we had a conversation, that kind of a conversation. She goes, I struggle with things like that too. And there are 3 of you here. And so don't worry about it. And I remember her words and I took her words, but at the time that was a seed that was planted.
Right.
Even back then, it was a seed that was planted as a 14-year-old. And let me just say in here that be careful who is around your children and what
Yeah.
they're speaking into their ears.
Right.
Because they are planting seeds and seeds that will germinate and they will grow one day. Um, and you just want to be careful about that. Now, that was a particular situation that, you going to the nurse. There was no one I was around who planted that seed. However, there was a space for me to be able to talk to my mom about that. And so she could help to dig that seed out. Nevertheless, the seed was there.
Right.
And so 14 years old, 15 years old, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, no cycle at all.
Wow.
Nothing. Not a single drop. So I get ready to go on my own, nothing on my own. I get ready to go off to college, and my mom takes me to the doctor. You know, you have to go to the doctor to get those physicals before you get ready to go off to college. My mom takes me to the doctor, and the doctor does my workup, asks me that question: when was the first day of your last period? And I said, I haven't had one. And I got that look again, that look like, oh my gosh, like it's the plague. And so she says, okay, well, we're going to give you these pills. It was progesterone. And you're going to take these for 10 days, and that should jumpstart your cycle. And then you're going to start taking the birth control. And the birth control will make you have a cycle every month. I said, okay. So I took the progesterone, 10 days, there it is. I start taking the birth control off to college. Probably about sophomore year, that birth control stops working. So now I go from, having a medically induced cycle,
Right.
to now I'm taking these pills, $20 a month. And at that time in college, that was a lot of money. $20 a month taking pills, and they stop working. So I go to the doctor. These pills aren't working. I'm no longer having a cycle. And she says, okay, well, I'll give you a different birth control. And you can try those, and we'll see how it goes. Here's more progesterone. Get it jump started 10 days. We're on to another birth control. Well, with that change from one medication to the other, now I've always had beautiful skin all my life. I started getting bumps on my skin.
Right.
Getting patches on my face, on my back. I started getting patches on the skin on my back. My hair thinned as a result of just switching and then taking those pills. And then it got to a point to where I said, I'm tired of, I don't want to take a pill for the rest of my life.
Right.
I'm tired of it. So I stopped taking the pills, and my cycle stops. And so here I am, probably about 22, 23, back to not having a cycle. Now, mind you, to that time, I had not had a cycle on my own ever. So I go for my yearly. I graduate from Cookman. I go for my yearly, and my doctor, she tells me, so you're never gonna have kids, right? And I looked at her like, ma'am, what? Like, you just gonna, no bedside manner, no. So you probably never have. And if you do have them, I said, okay. Okay. Year goes by, no cycle, no nothing. This is starting to eat away at me, because now I'm at that age where, I'm now dating Philip. We are, talking about getting more serious and all of that. And it's like, wow, I don't even have a cycle, let alone can even conceive in my mind getting pregnant.
Wow.
So all the while, I push it down, I push those feelings down, and I keep trucking. Next year, go to the doctor, I hear it again. You will probably never have children. You will never have kids. I mean, you have not had a cycle. So, I mean, you need that to have a child. So I don't know how you're going to do it. And what probably will really do you good is, you could drop some weight. You just drop some weight, and that probably would normalize your insulin levels, and you'll probably be more fertile if you just lose a little weight. And I go, okay, been there, done that. I've done the yo-yo diet. I've done, or the yo-yo weight. I've done the up and down, and I've done, all the tips and tricks, and here I am. Then I get the diagnosis of PCOS, and my doctor sends me for a transvaginal um, ultrasound to take pictures of my ovaries, and we find that my ovaries are enlarged. They are huge. And not only are they huge, you can see it looks like, it looks like there's a saying that says, I'm a girl with a string of pearls around my ovaries. And that's exactly what it looks like. It looks like pearls or studs on the outsides of my ovaries. They're little cysts. And what happens is the little pocket, the follicles don't burst. They just fill with water. They keep filled with water. And they just stay there. So the egg never comes out. They just stay there. And she says, oh yeah, you can probably hang that. Yeah. This is probably a done deal. Your ovaries are very enlarged, and I mean there's so many cysts on there. I'm surprised you're not in pain. So here, I'm gonna give you this birth control, and I'll give you metformin. That metformin will help you to lose some weight, and this birth control will get your cycle going, and then we'll just hope for the best. And
Wow.
so, fast forward, there were probably about 3 doctors who all told me the exact same thing. You probably won't get pregnant, and if you do get pregnant, it won't be on your own. 3 doctors told me the exact same words. You probably won't get pregnant, and if you do, it won't be on your own. So we moved to Florida. Well, in that period, in that time, Philip and I get married, and we are a year and a half in, and we decide, okay, we want to really, really try. Doctor after doctor after doctor, no, after no, after no, after no. We moved from Florida and we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. And at this time, we have been married for going on 4 years. And we moved from Florida to North Carolina. And at this point, I'm interested in going to see a doctor. Now, as women, we know we have to go get checked out and we have to make sure everything is okay. But at this point, that trauma that I had experienced with all those doctors in Florida made me not even want to go to make sure I was okay. It made me not even want to step foot in the doctor's office to even just get checked. Nevertheless, I go and get the information of this really, really good doctor. One of my sisters in Charlotte gave me her OBGYN's number. I go in. This lady was phenomenal. Okay. For my first time I went in there, she said, "Oh, this is really doable. You'll be fine. Let's do another ultrasound and see what it looks like, and we'll go from there." So she does the ultrasound, and she goes, "Okay, well, your ovaries are not. I do see the cysts, but they don't look bad. This is doable. I'm gonna give you information about this medication called Clomid, and I want you to take it home. I'm not gonna give you for it right now. To take the information, we'll read about it, research, and then once you have done your research, call me up and we'll talk further." She said, "Usually we do one cycle. If you don't get pregnant after that cycle, we go for another cycle. But I don't like to do too many cycles of that because I don't like the medication. And so I usually do about 2 or 3 cycles of that, and then we'll move on from there." I said, "Okay." So I take the information, I read it, and I'm like, "Oh man, there's just 60% chance of multiples with this." I'm like, "Oh Lord, no, I don't know if I'm gonna do that. I don't." like, oh Lord, no. So we go through that. By this time, though, I had been so apprehensive about going to the doctor that the Lord was getting ready to relocate us. So I couldn't really start on the treatment because the Lord was moving us from Charlotte, so I would no longer have a doctor. So I'm like, okay, what is it that like we're so close now? We finally got to the point where we have one doctor who has given us a maybe. We have not had a maybe. I've not heard a maybe in I don't know how many years. I've never heard a maybe. Now I'm to the point where I have a maybe gonna move us out of this. And he says to me, this is not the way it wants to happen. And I'm like, but the opportunity, like, oh, it's right here. And he goes, it's time to go. So we pack up our things, and we go. And what I learned about that was if you allow them to make you squander an opportunity because of the seeds that he's planted that you're believing, he's allowed you to miss an opportunity God has waiting for you. But because of what you hear and what you see, you've allowed that to overtake the possibility of the promise.
Ooh, girl, you preaching.
That was another little thing I learned. I'm like, I missed that opportunity. So it's 2015, and we moved to Atlanta, where we currently reside. And I will never forget. It was June of 2015 when we moved from Charlotte, North Carolina to Atlanta, Georgia. And we got here and Lord, this feels like home. I feel like we were supposed to move here from jump. Not necessarily go to Charlotte, but come straight here. I said, this feels like home. I feel like you're really, really doing something here, and I'm glad we followed your voice. I kid you not, at the end of June, here comes my son. No pill, no medication, no nothing. Boom. So then, my mind starts playing with me. Oh, this is the flu, because that would happen periodically. I may have one cycle a year. I may have no cycles. One might come out of the blue and nothing. So here he is playing with my mind. Oh, that's just a fluke. It's nothing real. So don't even worry about it. And I'm like, okay. July comes, here it comes again, like clockwork. August comes, here it comes again, like clockwork. And like, oh Lord, like, okay. So what it feels like to be okay, it's gonna happen.
And
August of 2015, September of 2015, October, November, December, like clockwork. Okay. I'm not missing a single month. So I'm like, okay, what happened? So now we're like, Philip, this is our moment. Let's do it. So we're trying now. Now this is at this time, it's about 6 years of actively trying and getting nothing. So here we are again. We're trying, and we're coming up with nothing. And I'm like, well, Lord, you will help me to have it. Like, we cooking with hot grease now. So, getting it in. We're like, okay, nothing. December of 2015, New Year's Eve, I'm sitting in my living room, and it's probably about 11 o'clock. I'm sitting on my couch, and the Lord starts talking to me. He says, he sends me to a scripture in Isaiah, and it's talking about trust. I said, Lord, I trust you. What do you mean? Oh, you know I trust you. Like, come on. And he goes, do you trust me? And I thought, well, yeah, I do. Like, we here, and I trust you. I know you have my best interest at heart. I trust you. And he goes, mm-mm. Do you really trust me to be able to do what I need to do without you in the way?
Mm.
See, up to this moment, I told God what I want. It is okay to tell God what you want, because he will give you the desires of your heart. But when you put that over his will, that's where the problem comes in. So I had told God, this is what I want. I want a little boy. I want it to happen at this time, on this date, and I want this, and I want to make sure that it's in the summertime, because I don't want to miss no time at work, and I'm giving him laundry list. This is Janine's agenda. And he goes, you don't trust me. You don't trust me like you trust me. And it wasn't that I didn't believe that he would provide. I didn't believe that he would, supply all my needs. It wasn't that kind of trust. It was the kind of trust that says, even if it doesn't happen the way you want it, can you trust me to know that I know what I'm doing?
Right.
It was, can you trust me enough to know that I know better than you do? And that gut punch, I felt like somebody punched me in my stomach, because I was like, I really have not been trusting God all these years. I thought I was, but there were conditions attached to it. You see, we sometimes have these conditions attached to our faith and our trust.
Right.
Just as long as it is good, or just if it happens at this time, then we okay. But can you completely take your hand and trust that God knows better than you? That was going into 2016. So going with that, now I'm learning, okay, I've got to let go of my agenda and fully trust him, like he knows better than I do. So it's 2016, we try, and I'm like, yep, God's gonna do it. And he doesn't in 2016. 2017 comes along, and he makes me really evaluate between 2017 and 2018. He causes me to evaluate that trust again, because now it's not a matter of Janine's agenda over God's. Now it is, if I don't do it the way you think I am, can you trust me? So it came to a point where I broke all the way down to, God, you know what? Even if you don't do it, I'm okay. That's a very hard place, because within ourselves, we so very bad. We want it so bad. And we know that there's a promise spoken. There were many prophecies that we got. And so with that knowledge and the desire being so strong, we hinge on that. But what if his will isn't to give it at all. Can you still be okay? That was another gut punch. And so seeing friends and colleagues, and I mean, I'm going to baby showers galore, going to colleagues' baby showers. And, you know, I'm a teacher. So everybody at the school is going to the baby shower when there's somebody who's having a baby. Teammates, we getting together, we going in, buying gifts and all of this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, Lord, I really have not been really totally trusting you. And it was at that moment, probably about in 2017, that I said, okay, God, literally, no matter what it is, no matter whether I will conceive on my own, whether we have to go through IVF, whether we have to adopt, whether I won't even carry my own child, but we will adopt somebody else's, I'm okay. Literally inside was okay. I come to that resolve that whatever you decide, whatever it is, I am okay with your will. That was the breaking point. Probably about April of 2017, we decided, it was probably about maybe January of 2017, I heard our pastor, Pastor Danielle Murphy, she was preaching a sermon and she mentioned in there that she was talking about faith. And she had thrown a faith bridal shower for a good friend of hers. And she thought it would be a good idea if we threw an in-faith baby shower for me. So the idea was there, it was lingering, and I thought, oh, that would be nice. There was this one of my girlfriends, Luana, shout out to you, girl. She took me by the hand and she said, no, Janine, we're going to do this because we're going to build our faith together.
Come on. That's a friend. Y'all, that is a friend.
You listen, you gotta get you some friends around you. And at the time I thought, you know, this is the most silly thing. Like nobody is gonna. She said, no, we're gonna do this. And so we started planning an in-faith baby shower. Had never heard of anything like that in my life. We planned an in-faith baby shower. And then she says to me, well, you know, we gotta set up a registry. And I said, I almost hung up on her. I said, girl, goodbye. I am not going, who is going to bring gifts to, this is not even, I'm not even really pregnant. Like, who's going to do that? She said, no, we're going to do it. So you're going to meet me at Target and we're going to set up a registry. I get my hind parts up to Target and we set up this registry. And she said, you pick out what you want. We're going to put it on this registry. And we did just that. That was in April of 2017. March of 2017, my pastor and Pastor Bridget Hilliard come and lay hands on me. April of 2017, we have the in-faith baby shower. September of 2018, we have Prophet Todd Hall. He comes and he's prophesying to Philip. And he says, are you married? And Philip says, yes. Where's your wife? And I stand up. And he says to me, he said, right now, God is performing surgery on your left ovary.
Say that again, because nobody, listen, y'all, we are believers in the work of the Lord. I know some of y'all are like, what in the world? But I want you guys to hear her. This is someone she has never met. This is somebody she's never told her story to. And this person the Lord used to talk into her. I mean, say that again.
That man specifically said, the Lord, right? is performing surgery on your left ovary. And let me tell you how crazy that was. In the whole enlarged ovary debacle that I had been going through, it was always the left one that was the bigger one. And when that man said that to me, I fell to my knees and I praised God like I have never praised him before. I must have blacked out. I don't even remember. I remember coming to, and there were crowds of people. I later on watched the clip of that service. People were running down from the balcony to praise God with me. They ran from all over the church to praise God with me because they knew my story at the time. I fell to my knees, and I mean, we must have been in a straight praise for probably about 5 or 10 minutes just off of that. And I could really literally feel God in me doing whatever he was doing. I cannot explain the feeling that I felt, but I know without a shadow of a doubt that God was doing his work. That's September of 2018. We go through, I'm sorry, that was September of 2019. No, I was right, 2018. I'm getting my dates mixed up. September of 2018, we go through December, come to the new year, boom. Here's January of 2019. So, we had a conference at the church. We were really doing a lot of work, moving around, and, I'm feeling a little weird, but I'm not really thinking anything of it. So I remember our son, I was talking to him on the phone, and I said, oh, I want some pickles and Pepsi so bad. And he goes, "You pregnant?" And I said, "No, I'm not, because I love pickles and I love Pepsi. So how can that be, He's like, "No, you pregnant." So January, the end of January, beginning of February, I'm expecting my cycle to come. My cycle does not come. So here's that devil again. Oh, see, I told you it wasn't going to last long. Now you're going back to where you were. Now we got 4 years almost of consistent cycle coming. Here it is, late January. I'm expecting it. Nothing. And I thought, oh, Lord, please don't let this be happening again. Please don't let my body be reverting back to what it had been. And so I just thought, okay, I'm not even. Day 2, it's late. And I'm like, okay, here we go again. We going back to the way we were. Day 3, nothing. Day 4, nothing. I'm sore. Day 5, nothing. Nothing. Week goes by, nothing. I'm like, okay, God, like, seriously? So I start to get a little sad, and, and then I believe Holy Spirit kicks in and says, oh, well, no, what if you are? So for the first time ever, and we have those times when we're on this journey, we're like, oh, I think I'm pregnant. And we go get the stick, and it's negative. And
hate those moments.
listen,
Hated them.
cycle, right? And so we go get the stick, negative, go get the stick, negative. And I said, you know what? This time I'm thinking I've had too many negatives. I put myself out there too many times, and I just don't want another no. But then I think, what if I am? Because at this point, I am taking a medication that could be detrimental. So I'm like, oh, Lord, I'm going to have to take a test. So I go to the store and I buy tests. It was a 3-pack. And this one, I'm like, I want one with words like, I appreciate the plus and negative and the lines and the two lines, but I need something that's gonna give me a definitive, like, hello.
You know.
Oh, I get one. One of the tests is a plus, negative, or two lines. Another one I get is a yes or a no, and the one is a pregnant, not pregnant. So all this time, I'm not telling Philip because I'm like, I don't want to, disappoint him. So me being me, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just do it. I get up to get ready to go to work, which I don't suggest anybody do. I'm getting ready to go to work, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take it. So I take the test. This one is the two lines, and I'm looking. Is that a faint line? And so I go, oh, well, you know what? No, it's a little light. That's a faint line. That's not like a line. So I'm just gonna go. So I finish getting ready, and I get to my front door, and I'm like, I can't do it. I have to know definitively. I can't go. I go back into my
Girl, you brave. At least you tried to go to work.
I thought, okay, I'm just gonna forget about it. Like at that point, I was like, I'm gonna forget I even did it. Like, ugh. Then I thought I can't do it. So I go back. I turn back around. I'm fully dressed for work. I turn back around like I'm gonna take the one that says yes or no, because that will be the definitive. That will tell me, boom. And it's blinking. Yes, 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 yes. And
Girl,
after
did you run around the room? That's all I wanted to know. Did you run?
I looked at it and was like, okay, I'm gonna put this up underneath the sink so he won't see it. So I text my primary care physician at the time. She is now one of PJ's godparents. And I said, I think I'm pregnant. I think I'm pregnant. And she goes, call the doctor. Don't let them do a urine test. You want to take blood because you want to be definitive. You want to know. So we do that. I go throughout the day at work. It's a Friday. And I call the doctor. She says, yes, you can come in, but that ends up being a mistake. I had to wait 5 more days because the doctors aren't in on Fridays, so I couldn't go. So I had to sit with that for 5 more days. But we go to the doctor, and Dr. Jackie is my OBGYN from Married to Medicine. And
Love her.
love her.
Love her.
If in this area and you are having this struggle, go see her.
Good. Love it.
But a long story, a little less long. I go into her. She doesn't even give me a test. They take my measurements. She sends me straight to the ultrasound and says, all right, let's take a look. And I thought, so I'm sitting up there like, oh Lord, this is like really real. Okay. And sure, the little chicken nugget comes up on the screen. And he is 10 months old today.
Can y'all just let out a praise? I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta let out a praise of thank you, Jesus.
Oh, thank you.
Because let me tell you guys, when they posted that they were pregnant, I boo-hoo cried.
Girl.
And listen, you guys, Janine and Philip never spoke to myself or Courtney about any of this. Never. We were just saying like we missed them, and I saw the post. I bought my phone over to my husband and we cried and we prayed, and I was just like, Lord, and previously in the previous episode, my husband and I spoke, and you guys watched that, what we said about being the concerned community.
Yes.
And not being like interrogated. You guys don't have to hear the story to know that somebody is struggling and ask a question. You can pray. You can pray. You can check on the person. You can still pray in your heart that God, if this is in their desire of their heart, to have a baby, Father, let it be. But when I saw that by faith baby shower,
Listen, I just
that
got.
ignited us to pray. You talk
Woo.
about me and my husband praying. I was like, you know what? We don't have to text them. We don't have to ask no questions. We remember being in that space.
Wow.
So what we're going to do is we are going to pray.
Yes.
And when she and Philip posted that they were pregnant, y'all would, I mean, you would have thought that it was me again. I was like literally like, this is you, God. I am so thankful
Yes.
when God moves like that, and you didn't have to say a word to them.
Mm.
All you had to do was attach your faith with their faith, and
Yes.
knowing that the promise is gonna happen.
Yes.
Trust me, like we were just so overjoyed. But what was Philip's reaction through all this? From the time like the doctors were saying, "Oh, you guys will never get pregnant," to finding out here it is, there is a seed, like Courtney says, there's a seed. The seed's in place, right? So from hearing, "Oh, this cannot happen," oh, we have a seed, we have a baby.
When I tell you, Philip has been my rock throughout this entire ordeal, and it did get a little, I would say selfish at times, because there was a time I didn't even realize what it was doing to him, because he was so my rock. I didn't realize the toll it was taking on him. And it wasn't until Philip has this poker face. And it wasn't until probably once we moved to Georgia, about 2015, 2016 was when I started to see what it was doing to him. And boy, I thought it was doing a number on me. It was really doing a number on him, because just as much as I wanted a child, so did he. Just as much as I wanted, to see the manifestation of us coming together, he wanted that too. And I think that because my part of the journey was so long, like I said, it's from 14 years old until in my 30s, I dealt with this. Um, and so because my journey was so long, I was so buried underneath it that I could not even see what it was doing to him until probably about 2016. And I would never forget Mother's Day 2018. Mother's Day 2018 was one of the worst Mother's Days ever. Um, so, on this journey, you get to Mother's Day and you see all the mothers, and, you celebrate your own mother. But there comes a time when you make a shift and you're ready to partake in that celebration. And for years, it would be like, okay, okay. And, we have spiritual children, and we have, you know, like God children who call us mom and dad, who would text us on Mother's Day and Father's Day, happy Mother's Day, happy Father's Day. Without you, I don't know where you be. And then their moms text us and say, thank you for being like a mom or a dad to our child. Um, but it wasn't until that particular Mother's Day that he actually vocalized it. He gave it voice. Um, that I had no idea the trauma that he had been under going through all of this. And we kind of just cried in each other's arms that year. And, we thought, we're going to keep trusting God and we're going to keep going. But it was at that moment that he really acknowledged truly what he was feeling. And I had no idea. That was really an awakening moment for me that, he's in this right with me. He's right there with me. It's not just my journey anymore. it's our journey, and it's been our journey for some time. But yeah, he definitely had the roller coaster moment, and then actually finding out. Um, I actually went to the first doctor appointment to confirm by myself because he had to go to work, and I'm driving home. He's calling me throughout the entire appointment. I just hear my phone buzzing, and Dr. Jackie's like, who is that? And I'm like, I think it's my husband. And so we're talking. So on the way, I'm driving home, and he calls me. He says, so, and I said, we are. PJ is on the way. And he goes, whew. And he says, I'll call you back. Little did I know that he was calling one of my best friends and boo-hoo cried on the phone. I'm like, you wouldn't boo-hoo cry on the phone with me? He lost it on the phone. I later found out, probably later on that day, my best friend called me and was like, Philip lost it on the phone with me, right? But Philip was so excited that he was doing what most new fathers do. He was calling everybody. And I was like, Philip, you cannot do that. Like, we have steps here that we're going to have to take. Slow down. I was getting text messaging calls from people like, random, oh my gosh, are you okay? How are you feeling? And I'm like, I'm feeling fine. And they go, oh, I'm so excited for you guys. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I talked to Philip, and I'm like, he was so excited.
My brother was like, listen, it's time to just go ahead and put it out there, get our prayer warriors and our supporters, everybody on board. No more silence. I love it. I love it. We might, you know what? I get it though. As a mom, like when you first know you're pregnant, like, okay, this is top secret. I mean, I have to make sure everything's fixed, but then how, and it brings us back to faith.
Oh, yes.
I feel like it brings back to faith. And it wasn't because you didn't have faith, Janine. It was because I didn't have faith. So my husband wanted to call everybody. And I'm just like, hold on. Let me just keep this little secret for myself just a little longer. But it's because they were like, you know what? God did not go ahead and answer this very prayer after all these years to turn back and be like, nah, I'm taking it back.
Right.
No, I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody I know, look what God has already done for us, and wait till you see the promise with your own eyes.
Absolutely.
You don't know how many people that delivered who've been waiting for something. It may not have been a baby, but they were waiting for something. And to hear that the news that something is coming in the next 40 weeks.
Girl, listen, when we let everybody know, when we made that post, even before that, because we had close friends and family that we did tell, but when we made that post and put that out there, I got so many phone calls and text messages and DMs to say, girl, this has increased my faith. You have no idea what this has done for me. So many people, because of what God has done, he was able to use us as a tool for that, to bring people back to God, to bring them back to the point of, you know what? I can have faith. I think I can do this some more because I've seen that. I think I can keep going. And that for me, that will bring me to tears every time I got a message or a phone call, or just people with tears in their eyes would say, you have no idea what this has done for my faith.
And that's the place we want our lives to be.
Mm-hmm.
And a place where it turns, everything around. It turns. You want our miracles to turn other people's mindset, turn people's heart. Because they're like, man, they have faith for this. They prayed for this and they waited. And it's so hard to wait, Janine.
Oof.
It
Girl,
is so hard. Like you were saying, we want to take it into our own hands. We want to, it is. And we're not trying to say don't go to the doctor, not to try, what they tell you to do. Because as you can see, both Janine and I, we did.
absolutely.
We did. But it comes to a point you have to say, this is out of my control. And obviously, science cannot even help me.
Yes,
So I need to turn my heart, turn my life, and turn all my attention back to the one who created me.
absolutely.
Because you'll hear from doctors like, yeah, it's not going to happen. Oh, you start feeling like you are broken.
Yes, yes.
And it's the worst place to be in. Like, I'm broken, but God, you said I'm so wonderfully made. I don't even understand. You
Yeah.
said I'm wonderfully made. I'm made in your image, but I'm broken. My body is broken. And sometimes it's just, and I said this to myself. It's just a broken heart.
Yes,
My heart was broken, and God had to mend that and
yes,
bring all the attention back to Him.
yes,
Girl, I
absolutely.
feel like when God moves, especially in the stories of, because in this process of infertility, it's a story of self discovery, it's a
Yeah.
story of healing, it's a story of forgiving, it's a story of trusting, and then also receiving.
Yes.
Because you had to receive this baby shower by faith. And there's something in you was just like, no, are you
Ooh,
kidding? Why
listen.
I don't want to embarrass myself. God's like, receive the love.
Yeah.
Accept that I am about to deliver you and enjoy the moment. You should be celebrated. Because
Yeah.
this baby is coming. Because after the baby was born, you're like, I got everything I need.
Ooh, girl.
Like I got everything I need. Look at God. God prepared everything. Just like He said He prepared the table. He was like, I'm gonna prepare everything for them.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, God is so wonderful.
Yeah.
I just love it. I just love it. But I have a question for you. And you've been hearing this, like you said, since you were 14, 15 years old from medical providers. And how did that cause distress in your journey? Like cause distress in your life, especially as a plus size woman. How did their words cause distress and really try to break you down?
Oh my goodness. Oh, I, like I said, I had done the yo-yo thing with my weight up and down, and we know how unhealthy that is. But then on top of that, the stress of um that mind game of knowing or thinking that, oh, if I just do this, if I just lose this weight, then I can get pregnant. So then I'm down on myself because, hello, you are the one who can fix this. Why won't you just lose the weight? So then I'm frustrated with myself because I'm thinking, well, if dummy, you just lose the weight, then why are you not doing what you need to do? And so that kind of self-hate and that down talking started to become a normal part of my life. It started to eat away at me. My self-esteem, it was so low. I thought, I'm worthless if I can't do this. Like, these doctors are telling me it's just as simple as that. Then why can't I do it? Like, what is wrong with me that I can't do this? Um, and then I get well, if you just do this, and there was even one doctor I went to, she stood up over me. I'm laying on the exam table, and she goes, "What are we gonna do with all this?" And I said, in my mind, I said to myself, "This heifer, did she really just?"
Honey, you
Oh
took
my
the words right out of my head.
In my head, I'm thinking, you down there, you do know I can kick you, right? Like you are right there. And she said, yeah, so what are we gonna do with all of this? And I'll never forget that. These things are forever etched in my brain. Thank God that, I'm delivered from people and from what the negative things that they say, that it does not become a part of me as much as it used to. But that scarred me. I will never forget her saying all of this. And I thought, this is me. This is who I am. This is a person. This is a child of God. What do you mean? What are we going to do with all of this? And I just, those kinds of things have stayed with me. Um, I have done my best to make sure that although they have stayed with me, that they aren't um, affecting me. But that kind of trauma, it sticks with you. And let me tell you, these, while we respect and we take in the advice of these medical professionals, please remember that they are just practicing medicine. Any of them will tell you, I practice medicine. And I say that because they are an authority, but they are not the authority. So do not ever feel like, and I've had to learn this, that you have to accept their word over your body or over your health or over your conditions or your issues. They are gifted and they are anointed and they are talented to do what it is that they do. They have gone to school for many years to be able to practice medicine. But remember, they are just practicing. So the things that they say to you, I like to take the meat and leave the bones. Take what you really need and leave all that other stuff, because at the end of the day, it's not going to do you any good. And I would also say, find you a doctor who is really for you. You can tell when you walk into an office and you speak with that doctor, you can take their temperature, so to speak. When you hear them speaking, when you hear them talk to you and the way they talk to you, you know, you know. And unfortunately, sometimes it's some of us who who talk down to us. But I will say that once I got with a sister, once I got with, my Dr. Jackie, she's firm but fair with me. It's almost like we're her children. Find a doctor, no matter what, no matter where you are, but find a doctor who will nurture you and not talk at you. That's so very important, because in this process, in this journey, they will play a vital role. They will play a very pivotal role, and you want to make sure you're in relationship, because it's a relationship with someone who has your best interest at heart.
Yeah, and you have to trust them. And I love how you said take their temperature. And that's one thing, as a medical professional, I really, really encourage my colleagues to do is to present in a place of compassion.
Yeah.
You don't know what, that person's been fed their entire lives.
Yes.
And you have their history in a chart on paper.
Mm.
Paper is not very valuable unless even the dollar, which is paper, is not very valuable. It has gold that backs it up, right?
Yeah.
On paper. So you have to understand the depth of their value is in them listening to you.
Yeah.
So when you're talking to them, you shouldn't be breaking them down. And
Mhm.
I'm talking to my colleagues here. Let's be more sensitive to that. It
Yeah.
is so important and it's imperative to the well-being of our patients to hear us tell them the truth. We're not here to lie or to sugarcoat, but at least to bring them to a place of understanding in a kind way.
Yes. Yes.
It is so hard to hear. I mean, being on both sides, it's so
Yes.
hard. Like having been on somebody's exam table and hearing all this stuff, and they're saying it the wrong way, and all I can think about is like, I'm worthless, I'm broken, I'm this, I'm that, I can't, I won't. Those
Yes.
are like terminating words.
Yes.
You're shutting everything for them.
Mhm.
And that person probably came to you with hope in mind
That
that
are left
you,
with a piece of hope.
yeah, whatever is left of it, they're coming to you with hope in mind. They're coming like, you know what, this is my last. You never know. This is my last stop
Yes.
coming to you, and to hear you say things that break me down more. You don't know what that does to me when I leave your office. It is so imperative that we find ways to deliver what you would call, some people would call bad news.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I remember working in critical care and trauma ER as a nurse, and it was crazy because I would have to deliver detrimental news to family. One of the things I hated to do, but I remember a family told me, she said, it hurt to hear it, but how you said it was what helped us.
Yes.
You brought honor to our family, you brought honor to our relationship, and then you told us X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
This is the fact. I feel like something is missing in the way that we communicate sometimes in the medical. And sometimes I feel like I need to apologize for everybody, but I'm like, I'm not everybody. But you know, I'm not everybody, but I just want people to know, those who are caregivers and healthcare providers and whatever your role is in the medical society, that the way that we deliver those for some of us detrimental news is important, and it's imperative, and it's essential that we take our time to verbalize that in a
Yes.
more proper, not necessarily soothing, but comforting way, to bring comfort to that individual, because you don't know what it can do to them. You
Right.
know, thankfully, Janine and I and many others, like, we took it, we're like, okay, well, you know, we know who we serve, we know where we come from, we know why we're here. But there's many people who don't have that, you know, already as a core value.
Yes.
And it can break them down further. You know, I can go on a rampage on that one, because I feel like being on both sides of the playing field, it's hard. It's
It,
hard, and you lose trust. Like you said, you didn't want to go to see no other medical provider, right? So it's horrible. It's horrible. But I want to ask you to tell us how your faith in God turned all tragedy. I mean, we've heard it, but I'd like to hear that specifically. Your faith in God turned your tragedies into triumph.
listen, I have no clue. I mean, Philip did his best. You know, he was pretty strong there, but I have no clue how I would have made it through this ordeal, 15 plus years, um, without my faith in God, without knowing that even when I feel like I'm crying so much that all of my tears are gone, that I have no more tears to cry, that he's still there. I have no clue what I would do if I were not founded in that, if that were not my foundation, if that were not my bottom. I have no idea where I would be right now, because after so many times and after so long of hearing, no, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that, it chips away at you. And if not, had I not had that firm foundation inside of me, it would have chipped at everything that I even thought that I was. Um, Having that faith and trust, it forced me and it helped me at the same time to keep going. There were days literally that I really just did not want to. I wanted to just lay in the bed all day and just sulk and just, feel sorry for myself. But without the Lord, without him, nope, tapping me on that shoulder, get up. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna be all right. You're gonna be okay. But you're gonna keep going. Without that, none of this is possible. Even as it got down toward the end of that particular part of the journey, just before we conceived, I remember just feeling so free and just so, I can't even describe the feeling. It was just like, wow, like whatever God you have for me, I'm down, like whatever it is. that I know for a fact I would not be where I am today without having that faith and that trust, without that rock, that foundation. I wouldn't have been able to do it. And like you had said before, having faith and just blindly walking in is so hard. That is not an easy task. And I tell people all the time, it's kind of like being in a dark room, pitch black. You can't even see your hand in front of your face. And you're standing on a single tile. And you don't know if there are any other tiles around you. And God says, take a step. You don't know if there's any floor there to support you. But because he said it, you take that step. And every time I took a step, there was another part of the floor there. And every time I took another step, there was that foundation there. Not knowing what's around me, not knowing what's going to come next. I take that step and I take another step and I take another step. And without my faith, I'd be at a standstill, literally.
I hear that, and I can actually say I understand that.
Mm.
It's the same thing, and I believe a lot of us women can say the same thing. You can say the same thing, just putting our trust where we know it was valued, and that's in God. That's so amazing. I mean, we could keep going, y'all, keep going, but I want Janine to actually give these women, give us women, any woman who is trying to conceive, who's walking in this infertility journey, don't know what's going to happen next. Is there any advice that you would give them as we close tonight?
I think the biggest piece of advice I could give is to one of the biggest things that I learned is just to surrender your agenda. Totally surrender your agenda. Many times, like a lot of people, I don't know if this is true for me, I don't remember, but they say, I think you were talking about it, growing up as a little girl, you can imagine yourself being a mom. And so I think sometimes that because of that, we create in our minds what we think that should look and feel and be like, and that's okay. But I think sometimes we become married to that thing. And I want to just encourage you and to just loose yourself in God. I know sometimes it can be a scary thing, but if you would just let go, I promise you, he's got you. I promise, I can guarantee you without a shadow of a doubt, if you just let go and really, truly surrender all to him. It's okay to have your desires and it's okay to have your wants, but don't put them so high that you forget about what God has for you, because he's not going to do your will. He's not going to make your will come to pass. And so if you are always thinking and always praying and always wanting and always desiring to according to your own will, it's never going to happen, because he's never going to do anything according to your agenda or to your will. It is always his will that will win. And I think that becoming okay with that, really okay deep down, because sometimes we say, the Lord, however you bless me, I'll be satisfied. But really, 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 will you be satisfied? Really becoming okay and saying, you know what, Lord, whatever you have for me, whatever comes, whatever your will is, I am willing and able to accept that. Not literally, not my will, just like Jesus said, not my will, but thy will be done.
Wow. Y'all, I know that you are as full as I am. And like I've said before, I am going through this moment of transformation and inspiration with you all. And I want to thank Janine for just sharing her heart, sharing her story. What a testimony of God's goodness. God is so good. He will always be good.
Yes.
And there's nothing that can compare to him. Nothing that can compare to him. No science, no friend, no encouragement. Nothing compares to who God is. And I'm so happy that we're getting to hear these testimonies and we don't get to sulk in our own emotions and in doctors' reports and feeling broken. We don't need to be there. Period. We need to stand on firm foundation and
Absolutely.
taking one step at a time, even if we don't see the other tile in front of us or beside us. And I know you guys have learned as much as I have tonight. And as you know, every time I close an episode with a verse, well, it was kind of nuts because I actually had two verses that God put in my heart. And I feel like both of them belong in this episode because God just, he weaved through this thing. And I just love it. And the first one is Romans 12:12. Rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, be constant in prayer. Amen. And the second one is Psalms 27:14. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and take heart, and wait for the Lord. And whatever way that He answers your prayer will be the best way.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Janine, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. And I can't wait, guys, to continue to share these amazing stories with you all. Tune in for the next episode. I know this one was long, but you needed it and I needed it. So take it in. Take it in. Y'all have a blessed night. I love you guys. Y'all be safe and I'll see you in the next episode. Stay tuned.